With Immortals Fenyx Rising, developer Ubisoft Quebec has a pre-made pool of enemies to draw from thanks to the bestiary of Greek mythology. From harpies to gorgons to hydras, the ancient myths are packed with fantastical monsters to recreate in digital form. To learn more about 5 of Immortals' most iconic enemies, we spoke to 2 of the game's directors to find out how these beasts were designed.
The Griffin is my most hated enemy. It's the toughest one, honestly, the toughest one for me to fight. The Griffin flies around because the combat is much more airborne, and we wanted you to be, thinking in 3 dimensions. This is the creature that really pushes that to the furthest level. You can figure out ways to parry the Griffin when it comes swooping in, but by and large, he's always in the air, except when he gets stunned.
We've designed them based on what we've learned on Greek mythology, which is kind of a mix of equal with feathers and like claws for four-legged creatures. And then it comes to stylization because they're not realistic. So we wanted to make sure that our creature could look to be part of this world as well and to fit in that world. That's why they're kind of simplified, let's say, if we compare them to what we see like in the more realistic game.
It's a fun enemy to read from a distance, seeing him, stomp and getting ready to rush you, and then thinking, okay, am I going to try and parry him? Am I going to dodge? Am I going to jump? Am I just going to ram into him with one of my abilities and try and butt heads and stop him?
And each level have a different colors, but also effects. So the tougher they get, the more effects they have on them. So at some point they have flames around them and like tendrils and like particles floating around them. So it's very obvious that the guy is tougher.
When he's fighting you in a more densely packed area, when he's rushing and breaking things or stumbling himself into walls, the world feels alive and he feels very interactive and dynamic. So Cerberus is almost always going to be found around the rifts, which are the entries into the vaults of Tartarus. He shoots flame and fireballs out of his mouth. He has a bit of a trouble turning because of his wide size and the 3 heads, so you can sort of get around him, but he can also turn very quickly, and he has a great attack where the 3 heads will chomp, so he'll chomp and move forward and then chomp and move forward with the other head.
It's a very tough enemy, so we wanted to make it look like he's going to be a tough opponent, so he has parts of armor on him also. And the further he gets tougher, there's like fire all over it, and also he's like throwing fireballs at you, and it's kind of making like blast rages also.
One everyone knows. Giant guy that can pick up trees and throw them at you and pull rocks out of the ground and throw them at you, or smash into the ground, or flip you up in the air, swat at you in the air. There's a lot of variety to the Cyclopses that you'll face throughout the entire world. There's several legendary lieutenant, like really, really big Cyclopses, and then there's the world boss Cyclops, which is the biggest of all of them. And each of them have sort of a unique fighting style as well.
We wanted to make sure that the eye is the key target, because if you hit him with an arrow in his eye, you could stun him. That's why we paid a lot of attention to make sure that the eye is super visible.
It takes more damage from headshots. That was always an interesting one. Like it's so obvious and iconic to have the one eye as the key weakness, and it's something we struggled with a bit on Odyssey as well, of like, okay, but if I'm an archer, well then he's super easy to beat because I just slow time down and I shoot him in the eye and it's over. We had to find a good balance where that was effective but not like the ultimate and an easy Achilles heel for this creature. The Hecatonches. He's sort of one of the creepiest creatures we have, with his 6 arms and his face full of he looks like an ant or a fly almost, and that he's got multiple eyes all over his face. So he's sort of one of the creepiest and scariest to look at.
Couldn't do 100 arms, so we limit ourselves to 6. This creature has a mix of spider and also kind of a humanoid. So there's a lot of animation, like the way it moves or the idol or the attack. Even the face has 6 eyes, so it's kind of a spider-ish in the treatment. Yeah, so it's a mix of an insect creature. That's how we treat it on the animation. Design-wise, also, we've tried to make sure it looks like something very strange and dangerous.
He's sort of like a Wile E. Coyote, whirling dervish, sort of a fight style where he'll roll himself up into a ball and then roll across the arena to try and smash you. And he also can swing and obviously hit with 3 arms or 6 arms in a few swings. So he's really deadly. I would definitely put him at the top end of our most difficult creatures. I think the world boss Hecatonches that you can fight is probably potentially the hardest fight in the entire game, I think.
For more Immortals Fenyx Rising, check out one of these other videos, and for everything else, stick with IGN.